Is telling the truth always the right thing to do? If you answered yes, what if it meant losing everything? What if it meant living with the reality that you were the single reason for causing unhappiness, divide, and loneliness? Would you still do it? Well, I had to, and I can say, telling the truth hurts even more than lying. I was on school break spending most of my time on the computer, playing games and talking to my friends, until my dad decided to put a time lock on it. This was because I would spend hours on there like a zombie. He wanted to make sure that I wasn't up too late, which was super annoying. But one day, I found out the password to his personal account, and when he wasn't home, I logged on. At first, I didn't browse around his files or programs because I just wanted to keep talking to my friends in our group chat. But then, I saw a random email appear that was from Facebook. I didn't even think my dad knew how to use Facebook or had an account. But here it was, right in front of me, a private DM. I knew I shouldn't have, but I couldn't resist, and curiosity took over my brain. I clicked on the link, and there she was. A random girl who went by the name of Tiffany, and came with it a string of dirty messages and a bunch of private photos. Who was this girl? Maybe she got sent this to the wrong account, and now I just opened it. I was scared of getting my dad in trouble or him finding out, so I went to click out when a new message came up. "Hey baby, I'm in bed right now, thinking of you." And with it came a picture. Tiffany was completely nude. Holy shit, what? I almost dropped the computer from how shocked I was. No way could this be happening right now. I tried to make sense of the message in front of me. Surely this has to be some mistake, right? But then I saw another message pop up, but this time it was from my dad. I knew I was doing something bad, but curiosity got the best of me, and I needed to know. When I saw the picture, it seared into my brain. It was a picture of his... The more I sat there, the more messages just kept popping up. My dad was sending the same types of messages and images back to her. How long was this going on for? I didn't want to see anything anymore, but it was like a fire that I just couldn't look away from. Hundreds of messages dating back months, and the thought of it being gross didn't even cross my mind as I realized that my dad was cheating on my mom with this Tiffany chick. How could he? Not a single sound left my mouth as I clutched my face with silent sobs. My dad was my world, and I thought I had a kind, honest, and trusting father, but in reality, he was a cheater. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat there with all these images and information I had just read. I wish I could erase those photos and those words from my mind, but the only thing I could do was enter my little space, the coping mechanism I used to distract myself from my parents whenever they argued. I always had an idea that my parents weren't in the best place with each other, just by seeing them sit apart from one another during my parent-teacher conferences, and then came to light the loud arguments. Whenever I'd pop my head through to listen, they'd see me and instantly act like nothing was happening. They'd lie and say everything was fine or that they were just discussing something and didn't agree, but I knew how much they loved each other. But this would break her. It would ruin our family. I felt like I had to tell her, but I hated it. I hated every minute that I thought about this. Should I tell my mom what I just found? I couldn't bear to see her angry and leave my dad. The last thing I would want is a broken family, so maybe I should tell my dad because he and I were so close, and he'd stop doing this. And then I thought of my last option, which was not say anything and act like none of this ever happened. I guess what my mom doesn't know won't really hurt her. But then I wanted to do the right thing. I knew this was wrong, but if I didn't say anything, it would make me just as wrong and even hurt her if she found out on her own. I didn't want to be the daughter that kept a secret or caused a divorce, but I wanted honesty in the family, and they were adults. So I picked myself up and walked downstairs to tell my mom the truth in hopes that a peaceful solution could be made. Mom, with tears running down my eyes, what would you do if I told you Dad was cheating on you? Her eyes widened, and then she relaxed her eyebrows. You're joking, aren't you? That isn't funny, Lucky. You can't bring something like that up without knowing for sure or proof. Your father would never. And then I showed her the messages. Every single one. She started taking pictures on her phone and quickly called my grandmother. I don't know what they were speaking about, but I have never forgiven myself for that day because as soon as he got home, he started packing all his stuff into his car. I got what I wanted, which was honesty, but I broke our family apart. My dad was never angry with me throughout all of this. He even told me repeatedly it wasn't my fault, but I couldn't help but feel like he was lying. Lying like how he did to my mother. Still, he never raised his voice at me, never laid an aggressive finger or say it was my fault. He just knelt to the ground and looked at me in the eyes and said, I'm proud of you for telling your mom the truth. I know I haven't been a great father, but believe me when I say I'm proud of you. Everyone in my family tells me I'm brave for what I did, but I can't help but feel betrayal and guilt. Doing the right thing feels like the wrong, and sometimes I wonder if being the hero is ever truly worth it. Of course, I feel bad for getting my dad kicked out, but as the years went by, I learned that being truthful comes with a great responsibility on both ends. And even though it may feel wrong, it is the right thing to do. Seeing my mom smile brightly now and knowing that my dad repeatedly tells me how proud he was of me being honest, I'm happy that my parents are finally getting along well now.